Kia ora koutou and welcome to this Building a Neuro-Inclusive School Cafe session all about welcome to my brain, which is one way that we can get those conversations about brains and neurodiversity kick-started in our classrooms. As we begin, let's start with a karakia. Tu taua mai I runga, tu taua mai I raro, tu taua mai I roto, tu taua mai I waho. Kia tau ai, te mauri tū, te mauri ora, ki te katoa, haumi e, hui e, tai ki e. Welcome everyone to this session. Just checking back from last time when we were talking about what neurodivergent learners have been telling us about what they need in their school environments, in their classroom environments more specifically, to really support their neuro-inclusion. This idea of attending to sensory needs was the most overwhelming response that we've had so far. So we've developed this resource for you that you can download from our website, all about setting up a sensory space in your classroom. Not just in your school. We know that's increasingly common to have a separate sensory room in a school. Fantastic. Let's now bring that into every classroom, having a little sensory retreat. You can do it for easy, for cheap, no fuss, no drama, in the corner of your classroom or in a wee breakout space. So we've put together some ideas for you here. Just interested to hear back from people about if you've tried that, how it's been going, what's happened, what kind of experimenting and testing you've been doing. Do let us know. Okay, this session is all about having conversations with kids about neurodiversity. With the understanding that neurodiversity is the idea that all brains are different, and that's good. That's a good and normal thing. That difference is the norm. Sameness is not the norm. And for us as teachers, making sure we're really clear that everyone in the room, everyone we're working with understands that. That's not just some secret knowledge that we hold as teachers. We understand that all brains are different. But kids are wandering around going, oh, my brain's different and that must be wrong because everyone else must be the same. So it's so important that our learners, in whatever context they're in, understand this idea that all brains are different and that is the norm. But how do we get that message across without just telling and nagging and putting up a poster about, oh, all brains are different? How do we do that? We're going to drill into that in a minute, but I just want to come back to this point of neuro-inclusion. That's a gold standard that we need to be working towards as educators. Neuro-inclusion means that all brains are recognised and seen, that as teachers we understand all brains, and that kids understand their own brain first and foremost, as well as that other people's brains are going to be different from theirs, and that's good. And that we can celebrate and support those differences. All of us, all of the time. We don't need to celebrate sameness. We can celebrate those differences. So neuro-inclusion is a clear goal that falls out of that idea of neurodiversity in terms of understanding that all brains are different. So if this is our goal, how do we work towards it? How do we talk about these ideas? What do we do with these ideas with kids? We're going to talk through one strategy. There are so many things that we can do, and as educators, we're great at coming up with lots of solutions to problems. We're going to talk through one way that you can have those conversations about neurodiversity with your whole class, not just with one person, but with everyone around. So we've developed this card game called Welcome to My Brain. It's designed to help everyone gain insights into how their brain is working, what's going on for them, what's going on for other people, understanding that it's going to change, but context, time of day, situation, overtime, all of those things, completely fine. So it's a game designed to build those understandings. How does it work? Let me show you. So we have a whole lot of amazing images. They're really varied. They're really detailed. There's a lot to them. These images came out of a design process where we worked with neurodivergent learners, really from about the ages of 7 up to in their 20s. And we just asked them questions around, how your brain is doing in different situations. What are the images that come to mind? What do you see when you think about your brain? And we generated a whole lot of images and then tested them from there. So here's just 3. There's a whole lot in the pack. But if you look at these 3, can you find one of them that matches something about how your brain is doing right now? And if you were telling us about that, what would you tell us? What would your because statement be? For instance, my brain feels very light bulby because blah, blah, blah. Just a little selection. Here's another wee selection. Do any of these images match how your brain is feeling right now? Or how you'd like your brain to be feeling right now? Just a wee selection. And if you choose one, think about what your because might be. Okay, when I said there are a whole lot of images, here we are. Here's a whole lot. I don't even think this is all of them. So put together in one image like this, it's fairly overwhelming, but it gives you the idea that there are a really wide range of images here. And the card set comes with blank cards as well, so that if you're playing this game with a group of learners and there's that one who says, nope, none of these match how my brain is feeling, you can give them the blank one. They can draw their own picture. They can find their own image, off the internet or whatever, and stick it on that card. Or they can say, imagine a picture of XYZ ABC, whatever it is, and they just hold up that card, but say, imagine a picture. So that's a way to keep lots of people engaged in the game and not exclude anyone who says, yeah, that's a no, there's nothing here for me. The blank cards are also really interesting because there are those people that say, I can't connect what's happening in my brain with an image. And that's perfectly normal and perfectly fine. So you can say, well, let's just talk about what's going on in your brain. Hold up your blank card. So the game is based in these images, but what do you do in the game? So you can start off with really small children just by saying, how's your brain doing right now? Pick a picture and tell us your because. And that's kind of as far as you might go with really small children. Then a step beyond is to take these 2 different scenario cards, excuse me, and just talk through these ideas of how your brain feels when things are just rocking, when you're in your flow state or really in the zone. How does your brain feel? And flip side of that, how does your brain feel when it's really under strain, when things are not working out for you as you expect them to? And kids or learners of whatever age, play this with families as well. It's fantastic. You can pick a card for each of those scenarios and talk about why. Let's just flick back to a whole lot of cards. My brain in its flow state feels like this because my brain, when it's feeling really under pressure, feels like this because. One of the things I want to highlight to you is we are talking about my brain as though it's an isolated, separate part of us. And that's very deliberate. It makes the whole experience less vulnerable, less I am spilling my guts and telling everyone all of my emotions and feelings and most inner, deeper thoughts. It's a technique recommended by psychologists to kind of externalize what is going on inside and make it a less threatening experience. So it's a really hot tip to talk about my brain rather than me or how I'm feeling. It's how my brain is doing. So these scenarios are a step 2 once kids are a little bit familiar and we talk through how we feel under strain, how we feel in the zone. Now, this step in and of itself gives everyone incredible insights. So, for instance, if a child says, when my brain is feeling really under strain, I feel like this ball and chain. I'm dragging this ball and chain. It's really heavy. It's really hard for me to make progress. As teachers or as other people in the room, we can immediately get that sense of weight and being slow and think about ways we could support that person to make a little bit more progress, to feel a bit freer, to get a little bit kind of sped up and energized. It suggests a natural next step. Or you can ask learners themselves, so how might you move past that state and move towards your being in the zone? How do we get you from A to B? What support do you need? Just that little bit more detail. And another interesting thing is that when we start talking about our under strain state, other learners might say to each other, oh, I recognize you must be feeling really heavy and slow right now. How can I support you moving through that? Right? So it gives us those insights into each other and supporting each other. I just want you now to think about your own brain and how it's feeling and how it's doing, and what you noticed when you were looking at the images, what you noticed about your brain, about other people's brains. And the game, as you're playing, helps people identify these ideas that all brains are different. Because if you play this, even with a small group of learners or your whole class, they will instantly go, yep, all brains different, all good, totally normal, totally natural. They will get that through playing this game. It is a way that we can get these messages through by doing something, not just talking about things. There are further steps to the game as you can progress through the game. You can introduce different situations as well. That's where we start getting really detailed about what is happening around you that might support you being in the zone or cause you to experience that strain. The game comes with a set of instructions like this for how to play, different things that you can do with the cards. And coming very soon are a set of free lesson plans for different phases of schooling. So for our very littles, our middles, and through to our high school aged kids. Lesson plans so that you can have a really step-by-step guide as a teacher to how to use this game in a classroom. It's got follow-up ideas. The first lesson plan is introducing and playing the game for the first time. And then there are further lesson plans coming that extend and build on playing the game over time, because a one and done conversation or one and done activity about how your brain is working is never going to be quite enough. It's the kind of thing that needs to happen over and over time. So, my question to you, how And when will you have those conversations that are open and fluid and expressive and non-threatening? How are you going to have those conversations with your learners about how their brains are doing, how their brains are feeling while they're working, while they're playing, while they're at school, while they're at home, all of those things? And not just learners, but families too, which makes a really big difference. So that's my challenge for you. A karakia as we finish up. Kia tau tō rangi Māori e ki runga i ngā iwi o te ao. Peace be to you all. I hope you can grab a Welcome to My Brain set. They're available on our website. Grab some of those free lesson plans as well and really enjoy having those conversations about how our brains are doing. Thanks so much for coming along. See you next time.